Welcome to the Derek Diamond Experience podcast, where every week I take a look inside the world of film and television with those who have lived it and experienced it. I am your host, Derek Diamond, and Halloween Horror Month continues here on the podcast, so I thought it would be fun to go back and revisit a classic interview that I did back during the original incarnation of this show. For the longtime listeners, you might remember that before January of last year, this was a variety show. I would interview not just filmmakers, but artists, musicians, authors, really anyone who I thought would have an interesting story. But on occasion, I did get to talk film with various filmmakers. And what makes this interview special is that it's not just with two people who got to make their first film, but two people that through doing podcast, I got the pleasure to meet and I now consider good friends of mine. And those two people are Jason Robbins and Wally Phelps. You'll remember them from previous episodes of the show. Jason and I also co-host the Nerd Cave Retro podcast together. And it was interesting going back and listening to this episode again because we recorded it in May of 2016, so nearly 4.5 years ago. On one hand, it seems like yesterday, but on the other hand, it seems like a lifetime ago. So it was interesting going back and listening to really where we all were at that time. But it was so cool to hear their story about how they came up with the idea for their short film that they made, Monsters Anonymous. The process of doing the crowdfunding and then actually shooting it and getting it made, that was a whole nother story unto itself. So hopefully you guys have as much fun going back and listening to this episode as I did. I'll have some more things to talk about during the outro, but for now, enjoy this fantastic trip down memory lane with my friends Jason Robbins and Wally Phelps, the co-writers of the film Monsters Anonymous. Sitting here with my two very special guests this week, fellow podcasters, now filmmakers, and two guys that I like to call friends. I am here with Jason Robbins and Wally Phelps from Pop Culture Palate / Monsters Anonymous. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Same.
Hey, this is my third appearance on the Derek Diamond Experience. I should be considered a full-time co-host at this point.
You should. It should be the Derek Diamond / Jason Robbins Experience.
I know. Where's my check? Give me some of that sweet, sweet Nerd Cave money.
I'm still waiting for it to get to us. Once it gets to us, then we'll talk.
Sweet.
So I wanted to start off by asking you guys, first off, you guys recently filmed your movie. Have you guys recovered from it yet?
What movie?
That movie at the place about the thing.
Oh, yeah, that one. Actually, no, we are not recovered from it yet. We took last week off from the show because, honestly, I was too damn tired to do one.
Yeah, all three of us on the Pop Culture Palette were like, you know what? If we miss another week, I'm not going to lose any sleep.
Well, sometimes it's good to just take a week off and recharge the batteries. I mean, we do that every now and then. We'll release, like, you know, a best-of show, or we'll do one of my old interviews. I'll just put the Nerd Cave intro at the beginning and end, and we'll just take the week off. So sometimes just recharging the batteries is good.
Yeah, I was planning on actually maybe going back into the archives, the Broke Nerdcast archives, and actually maybe pulling out an old show or something and slapping it on the feed. But I was like, that's too much work.
Now, something that I've been curious about, because I don't think I've actually asked you guys this yet, because I want to start from like the very beginning of this whole Monsters Anonymous thing. How did you guys actually meet each other?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was like, like 2000, 1999, somewhere around there?
Something like that. I had just gotten out of high school, and I was working for a pizza place. Can I say the name now that you don't work there anymore?
Well, yeah, I mean, but we're putting them in the credits of the movie because they did
provide pizza
for us. Which
that's true. We were working at a place called Sicily's. Jason had been there for a going on a decade. That's not true.
No.
And I had been there for a few years, and he came to our store in, I guess, Biloxi, Not really. Where was it? Like Ocean Springs, kind of the Iberville area, and he was working in the Biloxi one, and I just heard, hey, there's this guy named Jason that's coming. So just do what he says. So
I like it when people say that before I get it somewhere.
yeah. So he showed up, and he was, he had been there a while, and I had been there a while at that point too, but he had been there for a much longer amount of time, and so we just kind of started talking to each other, and we had similar interests.
Yeah, we found out we were both movie geeks, so we would literally stay at work for like hours after we closed, just talking about movies and how much we wanted to like be filmmakers and stuff like that. And I met my hetero life mate at that time, and we've been writing together ever since.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we've written since then has been informed somehow by Jason. There's always a character in everything I write from then on that is Jason.
I think that's pretty much how we write at this point. We write ourselves into everything.
Well, most directors do that anyway, so nothing wrong with that. So I guess now I can call you guys the Jay and Silent Bob of the Nerd Cave Network.
Oh my God, I've been told I look like Kevin Smith on many occasions whenever I had my hair. I don't have it anymore, but if I wear a backwards cap, that was always the kind of the parallel that people would give me.
All you need is a hockey jersey.
Mm-hmm. And a hot wife.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking applications.
Yeah, I'm lacking the long blonde locks, though. That's what I need.
We'll just say you're the Jay who got tired of his hair and just shaved it.
Yeah, I like that.
Something like that. Now, how long did you guys know each other before you started doing the Broke Nerdcast? Because I know you guys did that long before Pop Culture Palate came to be.
Well,
Wow.
that really started a long time ago with a message board that we used to go on all the time. And we talked about this on the Pop Culture Palate before. It's called the Dark Quarter. Mm-hmm. And it was basically, listen, kids, back before Twitter and Facebook, there were things called message boards, and you would go on these message boards and talk about movies or pop culture, and you would find, like-minded souls out there that you would talk about all this cool stuff with. And it kind of spawned from that, honestly.
Yeah, because what it was, there was I don't know if you're familiar with the website Dark Horizons, run by a guy named Garth in Australia. He had a message board that blew. So I created the dark half of the dark half, which is what he called his message board. And from there, it was like an entertainment geeks haven. We had fan fiction about ourselves. We had games that we played. We had heated discussions. And whenever we stopped using that site, because of social media, basically Facebook, MySpace, that kind of MySpace first, of course, Facebook, we stopped doing it, and we got kind of the itch. And Jason had kept on saying, hey, we should do a podcast. Just record the shit we talk about with each other. And I'm sorry, I said a curse word.
Oh, it's all good.
But we need to record the things that we talk about all the time. And that's where the Broke Nerdcast came from.
You guys saying message boards just takes me back. Because I remember, do you guys remember the website superherohype.com?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I still have it on my favorites list.
I used to go to their forum every day after high school, and I would always look up updates on, like, the Spider-Man movie. Batman Begins had just started, production around the time that I was finishing high school. So, yeah, I mean, people that are, like, in high school now or even, like, early college, they don't know what message boards are. And, like, what makes me feel really old is when they say they don't know what MySpace is. I'm just like, you guys haven't lived. But
well, the way I look at it is this: message boards were just social media before our parents got hold of it.
Yeah, it was social media in its infancy.
Yeah.
Is what it was. But I still miss forums to an extent, just because you could go through and you would read, other people's posts, their opinions, and you'd either agree or you'd want to call them the dumbest person that's ever walked the face of the earth, which I was tempted to do several times, but never did. How long did you guys do the Broke Nerdcast?
We went 74 episodes before we stopped.
Yeah, something like that. It was relatively short.
But it really took us about 2 years of doing it to get to that number because we were very irregular.
Well, I mean, life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, well,
I know how that is.
I had started doing the Pop Culture Palate with Steve about halfway through the run, and then other people wanted me to do podcasts too, so I was doing like 3 or 4 shows a week.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where a lot of stuff had to give, and really I just wanted to boil everything down to one show, and that's why I brought Wally into the Pop Culture Palate, and then we brought in Stephanie eventually, and I think it's better for it.
I mean, a lot of the reason why Broke Nerdcast went away is because I became my technology basically all died on me at the same time, and me being a broke nerd didn't have the money to replace it. So literally, I want to say it was like 5 months went by where we didn't do a show because I didn't have a computer to record with.
Well, we did them sporadically because we would do them, in the same room.
Yeah, I would go to your place, and really it boiled down to we had a hiatus that was very extended, and when we came back, we had 14 downloads.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, we're done.
So when you say you lost all of your technology, you lost like your computer and everything.
Yeah, like my computer. What was it that all died at the same time? It was my computer, my phone, my Xbox, my TV went out on me. Like everything within a week just died.
That sounds terrible.
It was. I didn't know what to do. It was like I had to run and I had to save money. I did a GoFundMe account to try to get me a computer, and finally, Jason's mom gave me the computer I'm using now.
Yeah.
And so I've been using this computer ever since.
I can't imagine like all that stuff breaking within a week. I would want to kill myself.
It was a very dark time in my life.
Well, it's just, if you think about like people's dependability on computers, like I can't imagine what I would do if my computer just died, or any of my sound equipment died, or my PlayStation died. I don't know what I would do for entertainment. I'd have to actually socialize with people.
That's basically what happened. I mean, I read a lot of books in that time frame. I just want to say that the Sammy Hagar autobiography is amazing.
Oh, I remember a time when this was around the time of the original Xbox. It was in my apartment, actually the building right next to you, Wally, because you live in the old apartment complex I used to live in. Whoever built the apartment complex, the electrician, put the wires in wrong for the building. So I came home one day and there was a power surge going through the building. I lost everything. I lost my Xbox, 2 TVs, 2 VCRs. I think my roommate lost his PS2. I lost pretty much everything. Yeah, everything that plugs into a wall got fried.
You know what? This makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, and every single light bulb in the apartment blew.
That also is probably why I got to buy light bulbs so frequently.
Yeah, probably. I would get out of that place if I were you.
Lord, I want to.
You gotta love electricians who don't know what they're doing.
No, exactly.
Now, switching over to the Pop Culture Palate, Jason, how did that show get started?
That started because we had Steve on the Broke Nerdcast a few times as a guest, and Steve, we really struck up a friendship after that, and he wanted to do a podcast himself, and Well, I mean, we just started talking about it, and we started doing it, and it was pretty irregular at the beginning too. You know, we would just pretty much do a show whenever we felt like it. So there'd be sometimes we'd do 4 shows in a month. Sometimes there would be 1. Just depended, and that's kind of why I brought Wally in after Steve had left to go to Europe for his first trip. His first Euro tour, like a couple of years ago, and to help kind of fill the gaps. And that's when we started to really get on a regular schedule and started to build our audience at that point. Because that's the only bit of advice I could give anybody that ever wants to do a podcast is if you want to start building an audience, you have to do it every week.
And that's something that, you know, when me and Zach started the Nerd Cave, that was one of the things that I said from the beginning. I'm like, I don't want to do just 4 or 5 shows and then, you know, move on and do something else. It's got to be every week. And for the most part, we've been able to do that. And that's something that we get complimented on, is that all of our stuff is consistent. Like, people know that the Nerd Cave comes out every Tuesday. My show comes out every Thursday. And you guys come out on Saturdays. So that's something that, you know, consistency is very key when it comes to doing the podcast. And it's kind of cool because I remember meeting Steve at the first Pensacon, and I think you guys had just started doing the show around that time, and you guys were on like episode 4 or 5, and I've been listening to it ever since. You guys are almost at show 100.
Yeah, I think we just did, 91 or 92?
91.
Ooh, we're getting there.
Yeah, getting close. And then through that, you know, I met you guys, and I haven't stopped pestering you since.
But yeah, after this week, we're going to get back on a regular schedule because making a movie is quite exhausting.
I can imagine so. And let's move on to Monsters Anonymous. When did you guys come up with the idea of what eventually became the movie? Like, how long ago was that?
When was that, Wally? Like September, October?
Yeah, it was September.
Yeah, I had been taking acting classes from Jeremy for almost a year now, ever since last summer, and he had gone off in September for about how long was he gone? About a month.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, he was gone. He left to go to LA to make a movie, and everybody that took the class, you know, we still kind of got together to hang out every week just to kind of, you know, still see each other or whatnot. And a couple of people, we got together one night for class at Chili's in Gulfport and started talking about what if we did a short film that we could just do kind of as a class project together and maybe submit it to film festivals. And I had this idea of the kind of the bare bones concept of Monsters Anonymous. You know, it had been rattling around my head for a few years, but I never really had a reason to write it, you know, because I always kind of wondered, like, what would this even be? Would it be like a TV show or a full length? Like, what is it? Because all I had was just the basic concept in my head of just these old school classic monsters aren't scary anymore. And what would that be like for them if they were in the real world, like today's world? So I went home. I told everybody that was there that night. I said, look, I have an idea if you guys want to let me write something. And they were like, yeah, go ahead. And we'll see what happens. And I went home that night and I wrote a couple of pages, let it sit for a day or two. I came back and wrote a couple more pages. And that's when I got a hold of Wally, because I kind of got the idea of the story down, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it. So I sent it to Wally and I was like, look, please do your magic to this. And that's when he took it. And 2 days later, you had it completely, not really.
Well, the first draft.
Yeah, the first draft of it. Kind of took what I wrote and really expanded it, changed a lot of it by adding more jokes into it and everything. Cause the first version of it was a little bit mean in some parts. It wasn't coming out as funny as I wanted it to, but some of the jokes I did have, Wally really expounded on it. Like let's just say there's a bodily function scene that Wally really expanded out, that's going to work great.
Yeah, I was like, I want to see this, so let's write it.
Yes. And I'm glad you did too.
I can only imagine what that is.
If you look through the behind the scenes pictures that are all over the internet, you'll see a part of it.
But we've never really talked about it too much, Wally. What did you think of it when I first sent it to you?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you sent it to me, I mean, first off, you told me what it was, and it was you said, "Look, I'm going to send this to you. Please tell me what you think," because I had helped you with something else before, and you read pretty much everything I've ever written, and so I got it, and I really loved what you were doing as far as what, here are these classic movie monsters and they're in the space that everyone knows, as far as we have an idea of what it looks like. And it's just such an everyday thing that they're going through. And you had kind of the personalities there, but I was like, but everyone is so dang angry at one another.
That was the thing. Like my kind of first run at the script, everybody was so angry and just mean, and I wanted it to be a little more lighthearted.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's really the first thing I did. I went in and I started making clearly defined character traits. So this one's going to be the mean one, and this one's going to be just fed up with his situation. This one's going to be real sweet and polite. This one's going to be kind of goofy, that kind of thing. So really it all boils down to, what are these characters? Why are they here? What do they need by the end of this film? And that's what I was thinking while I wrote this, and just basically thought to myself, how would a conversation like this go? And I got to throw in a bunch of jokes that I had written for movie reviews that I had written for specific movies that you'll know whenever you see the film. And yeah. And stand-up things that just never made it into anything that I was able to make into anything. So, because context is king. So
right.
In this context, I was able to just okay, here's a whole ton of jokes with these characters in the situation. And then I sent him the script. Actually, I was sending you screenshots of it.
Yeah.
While I was writing it, I am proud of this joke. And at the end of it, he sends me a message that says, I've emailed it to everyone. I'm like, that's the first draft. Are you out of your mind?
He was excited.
The thing was, I mean, we had, 2 or 3 separate endings for it, because I had no idea how to end it.
Well,
and
I mean, not initially. Initially, we had originally it ended on a scene that's still in the movie, and it just kind of petered off.
Yeah,
just kind of ended. And whenever we had the first kind of sit down with it, because we sat down like a week after I finished it on one of those Tuesdays, and everybody was read through it. They liked it, but they all had the same question: what does this ending mean? Can we do something else? So they started throwing ideas out. Jason started throwing ideas out. So I went home and wrote 1,000 endings.
See, that was the thing. Before Jeremy got a hold of it, we had actually did a table read with everybody from my acting class. And I kind of had an idea in my head, because I didn't think Jeremy would, want to do this thing with us for free,
Right.
Like, he's got more better things to do than to make some goofy little movie about monsters with us. So I was going to have, just the class do it, and we were just going to do it really cheaply, like maybe a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
But
it's funny because Jason was like, so do you want to direct this thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so I didn't know what that meant.
Now, what happened when Jeremy got involved, when he saw the script? Like, what was his initial reaction to it?
Well, like I said, he had gone off to California to make a movie. So, so for the first couple of weeks, the first week he was gone was when we wrote it. And then the second week is when we showed it to everybody and we had a table read. So I went ahead and after that table read is when I sent it to him to read and let us know what he thought. And usually me and Jeremy talk almost every day, or at least text each other every day. And after I sent it to him, I didn't hear from him for like a week and a half. And I was starting to get worried. I was like, maybe he thinks it sucks or he doesn't know how to tell me that it's horrible. And then one day I was at work and my phone rings and I get a text message from him that said, hey, I read the script. Did you and Wally really write this? I said, yeah. And he said, dude, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever read in my life. And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, I really want to do something with this. And I said, well, I was going to ask you if you wanted to maybe help us produce it since you've got so many years experience. You could kind of point us in the right direction and help us do this and that. And he said, produce it. Hell, I want to direct it. And that's when my jaw hit the floor.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap. This is really going to happen. And I was like, yeah, more power to you. If you want to direct it, great. But he came back and he said, I'm not crazy about the ending, though. And I was like, yeah, we kind of have a few different endings for it. And he said, do you mind if I take a pass at it? And maybe I'll send you what I come up with and see what you guys think about it. And we got it back a couple days later with the ending that we have now. And me and Wally both loved it. And we were off and running at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. Jason calls me up and he goes, Jeremy just got back to me about the screenplay, and I'm thinking doom and gloom because it's been forever. And I'm like, oh, really? What did he think? And he's like, he wants to help us make it. Like, what? Yeah, he loved it. He told me the story as it was, and he said, there's only one thing. Do you mind if he directs it instead? Like, fine.
I guess so.
It was interesting. Yeah, he gave us the ending, and it was so weird because here I am. To me, Mallrats is the reason why I started writing movies, and I'm not even just saying that because I know Jeremy now. It literally is. You can ask anyone. And whenever I went to Jeremy's place to discuss the ending and what he wanted to do with it, it was all I could do to go, yeah, this is real. This is really happening. The guy who starred in the movie that made you want to start writing is wanting to direct this thing, that whatever it is. It was insane.
Yeah, life works in crazy ways sometimes. I mean, I even thought the same thing, when he even did my podcast a couple of months ago. I'm like, I'm talking to a guy, just having a casual conversation with a guy who was a main character in a movie I grew up loving.
Yeah.
But, as you think about it before and after the fact, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it's like, during it, it's just like you're talking to another person, and then when it's over, you're like, holy shit, that just happened.
Well, I mean, I hate to jump ahead because I still want to get to this point, but when we got to Jeremy's house the day before we started filming, and, me and Wally are there, and I'm sitting in Jeremy London's living room, and all the actors are around in a circle, and Jason London is there, Pink from Dazed and Confused, and Brian O'Halloran is sitting to my right. And we're all reading this script, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I had a moment where I'm standing. I had just eaten this amazing Greek food that was provided to us by the wonderful Jackie Siegel, who is somebody who is like royalty in Orlando, and I'm standing here having a beer with one of the people, kind of a cheerleader for an NBA team, having just a conversation with the guy who played Dante in Clerks, and I'm standing in Jeremy London's kitchen, and I'm sitting there going, "What is happening?" I didn't think about it until after I left. I'm driving down the road. What just happened?
It's crazy how life works, guys.
It's very surreal, and it all came about because of podcasting.
That's true. Because I remember you guys had Jeremy London on the Pop Culture Palate, like, what, a year or two ago?
Oh, it was more than that.
No, it was a year ago. It was a year ago, because my time hop told me.
Well, we had him on twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys had him on before I was on the show.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, a year ago was when I met him.
Yeah, because I remember you guys getting an interview with him. Was that right around the time that he moved here? Or moved to this area?
Well, the first time we had him on was right before he moved here. And the second time he was on was right when he moved here.
Yeah.
Right, because I remember you guys did that one in person.
Yeah, we did that one at 3 Alarm Comics.
Yeah, because I remember seeing little video clips.
Yeah, the audio on that.
Oh, yeah.
The audio on that episode is awful, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Kickstarter, because Kickstarter and crowdfunding is really big with, movies, art projects, really any type of entertainment venue. Whose idea was it to do the Kickstarter, and how did you guys feel when you met your goal?
I think I was the one that threw out the idea to do the Kickstarter from, when Jeremy found out about it, because we had to have money to make the movie.
Yeah.
And everybody, we kind of weighed the pros and cons, and we did a conference with a crowdfunding guru, kind of. I have to look up her name. I can't remember her name right off the bat, but she did like an hour-long conference with me and Jason Edwards, one of the producers on Monsters Anonymous. And she gave us a lot of great information about the pros and cons of, Indiegogo and Kickstarter and all that kind of stuff. And everybody kind of wanted to go with the Indiegogo route because you get what you make. But I feel like that's kind of dangerous. Yeah. Because, if you only make, like, there's no way this movie could have been made for less than what we made. No. I mean, and that was that was pulling in favors to get this movie made. For the amount of money that we paid to make this movie was a ton of favors from people. And if we had gone the route of Indiegogo, and let's say we only made $1,000, then we would have had to make the movie for $1,000, because then we have to produce something for the people that paid.
Right.
And with Kickstarter, it's all or nothing, but at least when you make it, you have what you need to make the product. So that's why we went with Kickstarter. Yeah. And plus, there's a lot better tools to keep track of everything when you're doing Kickstarter also. And let me tell you, trying to keep track of stuff and getting all this stuff ready to be shipped out to people is a daunting task. I can't imagine how, like, these Kickstarters that do millions of dollars, how they handle it. I wouldn't know what to do at that point.
You'd have to hire people. Cause, yeah. I know I had problems just signing the things I had to sign. You have to actually send them to people.
Yeah.
Now that the whole thing is really cool, because I remember when you guys launched it, just launching it, and then when you guys met your goal, I was just like really excited for you guys, because I knew how much work you guys put into it with the script, and getting everything ready, because like I've worked on some video shoots, nothing to the scale that you guys did, but I can only imagine the prep that it took to get like locations, actors, extras, the crew. It's a really big process. Like how much of it was just like a learning experience for you guys?
Every bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way this movie. I mean, when you see the credits for this movie, you're gonna see like 6, 7, 8 people listed as producers.
Yeah.
And that's the only way this thing got made as fast as it did. Because from the second that the Kickstarter closed, Jeremy said, all right, we're going to shoot April 10th, 11th, and 12th. Get it done before then. And we had less than a month, or a little over a month, to get this whole thing ready to be shot.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was like, everybody scattering in 15 different directions to try to get everything, prepared to get this thing done. There's no way that one person could have done it. There's just no way. We had to have everybody doing their part.
Every single person in that list had things that I can demonstrably pull out saying, okay, I know this person did this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So, I mean, whenever you see the producer name, it's going to be because they did something. A lot of people, there's a kind of a joke where they're like, what does a producer even do? Well, a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for everyone on that list.
Now, how did you guys feel when you guys met your goal for the Kickstarter?
It was like a giant weight lifted off the shoulders.
I didn't even honestly, initially it was extremely freeing because it's terrifying whenever you're getting that close and you haven't hit it yet. And one thing that really hit me, we were doing a meet and greet. And it was a huge storm the night we were doing it, and we were going to use that meet and greet to kind of push our way over the amount that we need, and not many people were able to make it out. And I noticed that people were removing funds from the Kickstarter, and I was like, okay, I hope that doesn't continue, because if we don't have that by 10, we don't get anything. And it's just, the next morning I woke up and saw that everything was okay, and I was like, okay, we got this. It was huge.
Well, I've heard stories that when you do like a crowdfunding type thing, your biggest days are like the first 2 or 3 and the last 2 or 3, and there's always that lull period in between. Yeah. I knew you guys were really close to it, I think like 2 days before it ended, but I just had a feeling that, you guys would meet it and that it was going to be fantastic. And you guys filmed the movie in early April. You guys had mentioned the 10th, 11th, and 12th, but you guys had to do it in 2, right? Didn't you guys lose a day?
We did.
We were going to film it on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. But then just the way things fell, we were going to have to do it in 2 nights because we couldn't afford the 3rd night.
Yeah.
As far as crew goes, we would have had to pay the entire crew for an extra night, and we just didn't have the money.
The crew and makeup. It's because makeup is ridiculously expensive. I mean, when I heard what the budget was for makeup, I'm like, isn't that like, I don't know, a lot more than what I thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it was about 1/3 of our budget.
Holy crap.
Yeah. But when you look at it, every bit of that money is on screen.
Yeah.
That's true. That is very true. Now, when you guys got to the day of shooting, the first day of shooting, how crazy were those 2 days?
At this point, it's a blur, honestly.
Well, I mean, I got there okay. All the principal actors had to start getting their makeup and everything way before we started actually doing anything. So I got there at almost exactly the time we were supposed to start filming, and everybody just kind of slowly meandered there. So at first it was kind of chill. Everybody's like kind of the calm before the storm, because as soon as the production crew got there, as soon as the director got there, we were go, 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 go. It was a very well-oiled machine. Everyone had a job and did it very well. And and the thing is, a lot of the people that were making this movie, this is the first time they've ever been on a set, but we worked together so well. It is shocking, frankly, how well everyone was able to feed off of each other and run off of each other's energy. And, this was a shoot that was 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So we were all night. And if we did anything wrong, we wouldn't have made it because we were shooting up to the last minute.
Really? Like,
the final little shot they did, the sun was coming out literally about 10 minutes after that they shot that.
Wow. So you guys literally used every bit of time you had.
Yeah, and that was thanks to Artie Glacken, who did our scheduling, who as far as the shot list and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we were scheduled within an inch of our life those 2 nights, and he actually was filming a behind the scenes documentary the entire time, so that's going to be something that's going to be shown with the movie whenever we premiere it.
Oh, sweet. I love behind the scenes documentaries. Those can be just as entertaining as the movies sometimes.
I heard that I'm opening the movie. I'm not going to tell you how. But from what I understand, I'm opening the behind the scenes documentary.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you guys hear heavy panting and grunting. That's not me. That's my old ass dog on the futon behind me in my office.
Oh, it's all good. If I had my dog, she would be doing the exact same thing. Except she'd probably be sitting in my lap going...
Yeah. Yeah, my dog is old and grunty at this point. Every time she moves, she's like...
Trust me, I understand. My dog snores louder than most humans I know. So,
yeah.
I totally understand. I know you guys would probably have a ton of these, but we'll limit each of you to one. One funny on-set story that happened.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I think the funniest one was when Wally was filming his scene and did a Pete Rose when his legs locked up and we all thought he was dead for about 5 seconds.
What happened?
Well, I'll let you tell him what happened.
All right. Okay. There's a scene where I'm running away. And I'm not the only one running away. There's a bunch of people running away. And after a few takes of us running away, Jeremy comes over to me and says, "Hey, Wally, you're going to hate me, but I want you to do this. Run over that way, stop, and then run the other way." Like, okay. So we get into our positions. Action. I run toward the tree, like I'm supposed to. Stop, and then run toward the other side so I can run off camera. Now, as I'm running, I feel like ants are crawling up my legs because I can feel that I'm getting a cramp in both of them. And finally, my bad knee locks up on me. And after watching the footage, now this is what I was talking about earlier, so that after watching the footage, it looks like a sniper took me out. I mean, it was just, I was standing at one moment running and then boom, right on the ground. And the way Brian O'Halloran describes it is that he heard a loud boom, looked up, Jason London is giggling uncontrollably, while Jeremy is going, "Oh, Wally, that was funny. Wait, did he do that on purpose? Did he do that on purpose?" And then as soon as I stood up, grabbed my glasses and ran off in character. And he goes, I think he did that on purpose. And then when they yelled cut, he comes running. Did you do that on purpose? No.
And I talked about it on our last show because my vantage point where I was sitting kind of a little bit behind Jeremy, but from where Wally was running, there's in the courtyard of this place where we were filming, there's this huge like rock sculpture and on top of it is the big flagpole, and it sits in the middle of like this fountain thing. So I'm seeing Wally run to the left, and he stops, does his little double take, and then runs back towards the other way. And I see him go behind the rock, and then he never emerged. And all I hear is Jeremy going, oh, my God, did he do that on purpose? He didn't do that on purpose, did he? Oh, my God, he didn't do that on purpose. And then everybody was just, like, jumping up, running to Wally, like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Wow.
I was like, yes, could you please get me a water?
I went and got you a water.
Did it look good on camera?
Oh, it looked great.
Oh, fantastic. That's the important
Which is all
thing.
that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, everybody, and the thing is, Jeremy keeps apologizing to me every time he mentions it because he's excited that we got that. But at the same time, he's like, I'm so sorry, man, for having to say this over. And I'm like, I don't care. It's funny. I'm good.
If it looks good, that's all that matters.
Pain is temporary. Film is forever.
Exactly.
I think the other funniest moment on set involved Dan Levy, who played Frankenstein.
Oh, my God.
In the movie. I don't want to say what he did, but there's definitely going to be an outtake from one of his scenes where instead of grunting like he was supposed to, he actually screamed a line that he ad-libbed, and it was pandemonium on the set for at least 2 minutes of people just hitting the floor laughing.
I can only imagine the outtakes that you guys have.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see all the outtakes.
Now, are you guys going to do like a premiere for the movie?
Yes, but we're not sure exactly where it's going to be. We want to do it at the Mary C, but we also want to do it on a bigger screen, like in a bigger theater. So I'm not exactly sure where we're going to do it just yet.
Yeah.
I gotcha. We'll definitely have to keep the listeners updated on that.
I've heard rumors of multiple premieres, so
yes,
just listen, and we might be near you, regardless as to where you live.
Perfect. Is there one piece of advice that you guys could give to yourselves? Like, if you could go back in time and talk with yourselves as you're starting this process, what advice would you give?
Make the movie at 3:30 p.m. That was our running joke on the set. Damn it, Wally! The next time you write a movie, make sure it's 3:30 in the afternoon, all the time.
So we had a whole running joke the entire time. We're going to call the movie 3:30 p.m. and it only takes place on March 30th. At 3:30, because we're never doing another night shoot ever again.
Every movie is in the afternoon from now on.
3:30 in the afternoon. Every movie.
Also, if you can, make the set downstairs.
Yes.
I can imagine carrying equipment had to have been a pain.
Well, not even that. It's just, every time I had to go to the bathroom, I had to run downstairs or honestly, on that zombie wrangling day, I had to run downstairs, tell everybody to shut up and go back upstairs, go back downstairs, make sure nobody goes outside during a certain scene, run back upstairs, run back downstairs and do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting sick of this.
And luckily they had an elevator.
They did, but I couldn't use it because of the noise it made.
Well, Brian O'Halloran and I were going downstairs for something at one point. This was like on the second night. And I start to go down the stairs, and he just stands there waiting on the elevator. And he's like, I'm not going down them stairs again. I was like, yeah, my legs kind of hurt. And he's like, welcome to over 30.
And the thing is that y'all could do that because he was indispensable. He was in every scene, nearly every shot.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can imagine though, you guys, if you guys keep track of your steps, you guys probably had a lot during those 2 days.
Yes. I had like 14,000 the second day, and I didn't have my phone with me the whole time, so I didn't have like the entire time I'm filming my scenes. I didn't have my phone with me because I knew that something could go wrong.
Right.
Thankfully, I didn't have it with me when I took that spill. So all of that running didn't even count.
Yeah.
We'll give you over 20,000 to compensate for it.
Well, I know I walked like 6.7 miles the first night and then over 7 the second night. So however many steps that is.
That's insane. Now, do you guys have any social media for the movie that you'd like to plug?
We do have the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/helpthemonsters. We haven't really posted too much the past couple of weeks because we're still in the editing stages and all that kind of stuff. But we will crank it back up once we get closer to the premiere date.
I'm pretty sure we'll have a trailer sometime in the near future.
Yeah, and we also have our Twitter at @therapy_monster.
Perfect. Now, are you guys working on any other type of script? Because I know you guys have like mentioned it on PCP, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, I think we're both working on something. Now, you go ahead and go first.
Well, we've been kind of trying to figure out where we're going to go next because we are putting Monsters Anonymous in film festivals and stuff, and we're kind of making preparations for the future of what we're going to do with it, because we are going to pitch it to some different places. So we've been throwing ideas the last couple of weeks over what exactly we want to do with it. So I started writing something else, but it was a little too big because my thing was I wanted to make like an Avengers style action movie with the classic monsters, but I don't think they're going to give me $100 million to make that movie.
Right.
So we're going to scale it back and do a little more a little more reasonable.
Well, what I've been working on is something that I've been working on off and on for quite a while. It's the pitch is Ghostbusters, but instead of ghosts, they're hunting zombies, and so that's what the idea is. It's a comedy. It's going to be character based, and it's essentially the zombie apocalypse is happening, but there's not really much of an apocalypse. They're more of an annoyance. And here's a team of guys that go out, take care of the zombies, and then that's what their job is.
So the zombies are more like a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, they're like zombie exterminators. You hear scratching up in your attic. It could be a raccoon, but hey, might be a zombie.
Yeah, you never know. And if it's a zombie, who you gonna call? Zombie exterminators.
Yep, and there's a little bit of a nod to the story. If you guys look closely in Monsters Anonymous, it's actually mentioned somewhere on screen, kind of a Easter egg, similar to what Pixar does.
Nice.
How they hide stuff.
That's what Jeremy kind of complimented us on too, was all the different Easter eggs we hid throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah. Those are some of the best things to find, are little hidden references. Like
there's one that I.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say there's one that I really wish we could have done. It was the Hang in There kid where it has the cat on the laundry line hanging on, and my idea was to have Gizmo instead hanging over a bucket of water. And that's the one I regret that we didn't do, but I think we couldn't.
Yeah. I was going to make that in Photoshop, but I was like, you know what? I don't think we can use this character.
It might be frowned upon. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to plug? I know, Wally, you do stand-up every week, right?
Yeah, I normally do it tonight. And the every Monday at the Juke Joint, I do a little bit of stand up. It's an open mic, so anybody can come and tell jokes on stage. If you have material that you've written and you want to try it out on people, come to the Juke Joint in Ocean Springs on Government Street. It starts at around 9, and you will get a free drink, not an expensive one. Get like a Pabst Blue Ribbon or something. I don't care. And the neck on the 9th. The guy who started Landmass Comedy, which is the comedy troupe the comedy group that I'm a part of, he's actually coming back from Austin, and he's going to have a big show on the 9th at the Juke Joint. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be telling some jokes. I'm going to have my best of out there. So if you want to hear some jokes, they're not particularly good ones, but you can hear them, and I will be there.
Awesome. Do you guys have any social media you'd like to plug for Pop Culture Palate or yourselves?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
You can follow us on Twitter at PCP Show. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/popculturepalate. And our website is pcpradio.com. And there you can listen to all the back episodes. And our current episodes come out in podcast form Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Central. But we record it live on Thursday nights at 7:30 Central if you want to check it out live. And we have the link there on the page. You can just go to the live page and click the link. It takes you to twitch.tv/SteffiLouWho. And
I'll add that in the episode description for this as well.
And one thing before we go, I just want to praise everyone that had anything to do with bringing the movie to life. I mean, all the producers, Mike Anglin and Jason Edwards, Darnell Sheffield, and oh my God, I can't even think of everybody at this point. Wally,
Well, there's so many people that were involved. I mean, I can't even think. I mean, of course, Jeremy and Jason London.
And Juliet London too. I mean, she helped out with so many different things, and she made a great. I don't want to say who her character is because that's a surprise, but she did an epic job on her character, and she helped us out with making this into a SAG production, also. And I mean, everybody did a fantastic job.
And I just want to, of course, again, Jacqueline Siegel, who was our executive producer, it would not have happened without her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for coming on the show. It's always fun talking to you.
Thank you for having me again. And this time I got to bring my hetero life mate, Wallace.
Yeah, exactly. I know. This is the first interview I've ever had.
Really?
The thing is that you're not the one that was supposed to be the first one, because I was asked a while ago and I had computer issues.
So through technology issues, I was your first interview.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And although I'm honored, this is one of my favorite interview shows.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Derek.
Hopefully you guys had just as much fun revisiting that episode as I did. It's still crazy to think how much has changed in 4+ years since we did that interview. It's crazy. But if you want to check out Monsters Anonymous, it is available to watch on Amazon Prime, and this is the perfect time of year to watch it. I can't recommend it enough. But for next week's show, you can thank the patrons of the Derek Diamond Experience, because we'll be doing our monthly roundtable discussion, and in the spirit of Halloween, we'll be discussing the Evil Dead franchise. Jason Robbins, who you heard on this show, will be back along with returning guest Steve Wise. We'll be discussing our first memories of the Evil Dead franchise, some of our favorite moments, things we'd like to see from the future of the franchise, and so much more. And we're going to be doing the show live. It will be this upcoming Monday, October 26th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on Facebook Live at facebook.com/DDiamondPodcast. And I'll also be streaming to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Derek_Diamond. So if you're more of a Twitch fan, you can check it out there, or you can check it out on Facebook Live. But until then, you can check out past episodes of the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts for free. Just search for The Derek Diamond Experience. And if you could, please leave a review, because the more reviews I get, the more exposure I get to the podcasting public. It just takes you a couple of seconds to leave a quick review, so that would be very much appreciated. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at DDiamondPodcast. And of course, thank you to my close friends, the Unicorn Wranglers, for providing the theme music for the podcast. You can check out all their music on Apple Music, Google Play, and Spotify. That's going to do it for this week's show. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a safe and fun weekend. Thank you for tuning in to another awesome episode of the Derek Diamond Experience. I am your host, Derek Diamond, and we'll see you guys back here this Monday on Facebook Live and on Twitch.